Tacoma got a special visit from a former First Lady.
We've got an update on the future of accessory dwelling units in Tacoma.
And the legislative process is starting to wrap up. We'll check in with the city's government relations officer.
All that and more coming up next on Tacoma Report. Hello, and welcome to this edition of Tacoma Report. I'm Laura Proctor.
And I'm Angie Foster. On March 24th, former First Lady and best-selling author Michelle Obama wrapped up the first leg of her U.S. book tour by returning to Tacoma following the cancellation of her original date due to inclement weather. Before her evening appearance at the Tacoma Dome, she sat down for a discussion of her book, Becoming, with members of the Balanced Black Girl Book Club in the Northwest Room at the main branch of the Tacoma Public Library. Mrs. Obama encouraged book club members to write their own stories of becoming and discussed what it means to achieve balance in life. Later that evening, Mrs. Obama and late-night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel sat down for a one-on-one conversation before a sold-out crowd of over 18,000 people at the Tacoma Dome.
A lot of these events, this is the biggest crowd, I'm told, of any event that you've ever done.
In the evening, the former First Lady recounted her life growing up in a working-class family, her memories of her childhood, and her journey alongside her husband to the White House. Mrs. Obama now heads for Europe before returning to the U.S. for the second leg of the U.S. tour. If you're interested in reading her book, it's available at the Tacoma Public Library.
The community survey period for residential curbside recycling options has ended. Environmental Services received thousands of responses from the community, and now the Tacoma City Council will consider recommendations.
Yes, so I would say the themes that I've really heard through the comments and just having like one-on-one conversations with people is that there's a strong culture of recycling here and doing the environmentally right thing. But this is an expensive place to live, and people are sensitive to cost, and they want to make sure that their wages can cover the rate increases and for them to do the right thing. So I think that would be something good for council to consider when making a decision.
For more information about proposed changes to the residential curbside recycling program, visit them online. Second Cycle, Tacoma's Community Cycle Center, helps people get their bikes back to full speed, and the full story kicks off the spring edition of Urban Green, playing now on TV Tacoma. A cooking demonstration featuring a gourmet vegan salad bowl will tempt viewers' taste buds. The show will then close out featuring Tag Grow and how it helps gardens grow. For a listing of air dates or to watch an episode, visit the Urban Green page on the city site.
With a change in seasons comes a change in hours at Tag Grow. Spring hours are now in effect with extended hours on Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Tag Grow, short for Tacoma Grow, offers a number of products for home users that are good for the environment and gardeners alike. For more information, visit their website. More and more coyote sightings are being reported in the Tacoma area.
After the break, we'll talk with Cole Caldwell from the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife to find out what this means for both humans and animals. Stay with us. As urban communities expand, there are more opportunities for interaction between people, pets, and wildlife. Joining us to talk about how to share space with coyote is Cole Caldwell from the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife. Welcome to the show, Cole.
Hello, thank you.
Thanks for being here. So Cole, can you let our viewers know what are the values that coyotes provide people and the environment?
Well, I believe that coyotes provide a suite of values for the community as well as the environment. They have an ecological role for example, they're very astute hunters for rodents, so they perform a service there. So if they have an ecological niche where they do primarily feed on rodents, so that's a good thing if you have rodent problems. They also, have an aesthetic quality. They have religious qualities in some communities. They also provide educational components for such as this, and they kind of, depending on where you are, if you're rural or urban, there's different values there, and there's also even a traditional value such as fur trade and clothing and such. So,
Wow,
yeah.
very interesting. And what is the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife's role in managing coyotes and wildlife?
Well, it depends. So in the state of Washington, coyotes are unclassified wildlife. So that means that there isn't like a set. It is required to have a license and to address these species like via hunting and such, and there's a season for that. However, they have more. There's more liberty with this species because it isn't a game species or a conservation species, threatened or endangered species. So they're basically unclassified is what they're classified as. And with that, there's more leeway for management flexibility. However, we are still bound within the constrictions of city ordinances, human safety, risk, etc. So we basically take a stance depending on what the situation is, and whether or not if a safety or a risk or a damage component's there, then we kind of step in and work with cities or individuals or communities. At this level, depending on like the urban setting, we would work with the city municipality and kind of discover if there is a coyote issue and what that may be.
Okay. And Cole, why are people seeing coyotes in urban areas?
Oh, that's a good one. So there's a lot of reasons. One is urban sprawl and development as humans have developed new areas. Habitat loss and fragmentation occurs. So now coyotes are displaced, and they are going to places where they can make a good living, and that in some cases is the city. They're also, they're more visible in a city setting. There's less cover, so there's probably been coyotes around, and you may not see them as much due to their conspicuous nature and so forth. And when habitat or new developments occur, or you take out those brush and a new green belt has been displaced or something like that, you may be able to see more coyotes than you regularly would. However, I think the coyote is one of those critters that can actually adapt well to the urban environment. There's a few of them out there, and this is one, definitely, and deer are another, and a few others that can actually coexist with us. The question is, can we coexist with them?
Right, exactly. And it is important to remember that this was their home before it was ours. Yes. So, and one final question, Cole. How can people mitigate human-coyote conflict and coexist with coyotes and other wildlife?
Well, that's an even better question. So there's a lot of answers there, depending upon the situation. Like, for example, pet husbandry skills is a great one. So if you have a fenced yard or you don't have a fenced yard, those are different situations. You should have your children and your pet under control, or at least in your, so safety purposes, right? You wouldn't allow your baby to just crawl around the backyard if you knew there was wild animals around. And same with your pet. You should be aware that there could be risks involved, especially if you have an unfenced yard. Fenced yards are probably the best. And if you have a cat, for example, and you let that cat out, just be aware that coyotes are active all day. They're mainly active in the early morning or late evening, however, all day. So if you let that cat wander, it may go beyond the bounds of your own house, and that's difficult. And you should also be aware of general coyote behavior. So if you go to WW's website, Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife website, there is information about general biology, so you'll understand how the nature of the coyote is. So if you understand its behavior, you may be able to better understand your presence and how to be alert and aware of the situation and how to react or act when you're around a coyote.
Okay, perfect.
And I should say, sorry, he's so pushy, but there's also attractants and habituation concerns. So if you have your garbage, not with a lid on it, if you have bird feeders, something that would attract rodents or other animals, stuff like that, you should be aware you could actually be drawing coyotes to you rather than trying to make it less favorable for them.
Well, That was a wonderful, information for our viewers, and thank you so much for sharing that. We appreciate you being here, and we hope that you come back and see us again.
Excellent, I will.
Thanks, Cole. Up next, we have an update on the Accessory Dwelling Units Ordinance. Don't go away.
The Tacoma City Council recently passed changes to regulations around accessory dwelling units, or ADUs. These changes include allowing detached accessory dwelling units in various single-family zoning districts.
An ADU is a second dwelling added onto a single-family house. And an ADU can either be part of the house, and then it's an attached ADU, or it can be in the backyard, and then it would be called a detached ADU. Getting more housing supply in an area which is otherwise built out.
These changes help simplify the code and create additional flexibility for both attached and detached ADUs, and generally increasing flexibility regarding design, size, and location. ADUs can also help in response to housing needs.
We know that there are a lot of people who either want to come and live in the city or who want to find housing that they can afford now. They are part of a combined solution that the city is working on through our affordability strategies. It's also going to help on a housing choice side, because by definition an ADU is smaller and the expectation is it would be less expensive, so you'd have a more affordable housing type. But equally as important, it would also be a way of accommodating different household types and sizes, allowing family members perhaps to live near each other, allowing people to age in place or to get some income from their property.
These changes are expected to take effect on May 1st of this year. For more information on ADUs, visit the city site.
The legislative season is expected to end on time, and important deadlines recently passed. If bills didn't make it out of committee, they are now no longer eligible to be sent to the House or Senate for a vote. Several important bills the city has been watching did make it out of committee.
We've got some great bills moving forward to help with affordable housing. The legislature really took that issue seriously, and so they're going to, hopefully in the end when this passes, we'll get some state shared revenue that will be a substantial amount that we can borrow against and actually do some things with affordable housing or supportive housing, the kinds of things that we know we need. We think Tacoma's in a good shape with this legislation. We think the overall adoption of this is good for the state, and the cities that haven't done it yet will get some money to help them do it.
To see all of the city's state and federal legislative priorities, visit them online. The Mayor's Youth Commission recently met with city and community leaders to discuss what actions they want to take to meet their policy goals. Members chose 4 policy areas on which to focus: justice, safety, outreach, social and environmental health, and education, arts, and culture. Youth ages 13 to 19 who live in or attend school in Tacoma can apply online to become commission members. Questions or requests for special accommodations may be directed to Youth Commission Staff Liaison, Dakota Warren.
The Tacoma Police Department is getting its Java Jive on. The department takes time the second Wednesday of each month to meet the public over coffee at a coffee shop near the UW Tacoma campus. The get-together, held in partnership with UW Campus Security, gives the public a chance to meet the officers and get to know them.
It's an honor to come on out and be part of this program that we have, to partnership with UW Tacoma, and have a conversation with the citizens of Tacoma about anything from policies and procedures we might have to current events and sporting teams. It really gives an opportunity to meet its officers on a really low-key, informal setting. It's an honor to serve this community and meet its great people.
The Director of Campus Safety and Security is also on hand to take questions and offer advice. Coffee and tea is free to participants, as is the great conversation. Meetings are held from 10 to 11:30 a.m. the second Wednesday of each month at Metro Coffee, 1901 Jefferson Avenue in Tacoma. When we come back from the break, we've got some great information about tech time at the library.
And we may just break into song as we bring you a story about the Tacoma Musical Playhouse. Stay with us. Personalized assistance to help navigate downloading an ebook or starting a resume is available throughout the year at the Tacoma Public Library main branch. The resource provides a quick 30-minute overview of the library's featured resource of the month, and participants can also get help with their technology questions. Assistance is available on a first-come, first-served basis. Visit them online to find out the next event date and time.
We're barely into spring, but if you have kids that are hoping to participate in a fun type of camp this summer, now is the time to get them signed up. Lane Fickey takes a look at one camp where kids let their creative side take over.
The thrill and excitement of the theater. Many people hope to be on a stage just like this one day. And for kids in the Tacoma-Pierce County area, they can get their start by attending a summer camp.
I thought love was only true in fairy tales.
What a fun way to spend the summer, singing, dancing, and hanging out with your friends. Between 200 and 300 kids each year attend the educational camps put on by Tacoma Musical Playhouse. This nonprofit organization knows the benefits that kids can get out of music, dance, and theater.
We do our summer camps to grow our next audience and also enhance the public school departments that are cutting back on funding. We feel that it's very important that they get this part of the education of arts and creativity. It helps them develop their personalities and their confidence as a student, working with teachers and other students, plus it's a new way to introduce them to musical theater and have a lot of fun doing it. It offers a different alternative to, say, sports. They find out more about themselves and they develop a personality and their confidence. And sometimes it's like they don't really know that they have a talent, and then they find out, oh, this is a lot of fun, I could do this more often.
We need to crank up that volume. Along with the volume, you need to work on your diction. Okay?
One of the great things about summer camp at Tacoma Musical Playhouse is that kids don't have to have prior singing, dancing, or acting ability. There's a place for all skill levels, and what they learn here will also help them in everyday life.
There are kids that maybe aren't too terribly interested in theater, so we try to incorporate as many life skills as we can. We talk about you may have to apply for a job someday, so it's important to know how to speak to each other. Teamwork is huge, working with people that you may not necessarily get along with, and coming together at the theater camp brings kids from all walks of life, and to see them come together and set aside all those differences to create something because they have this big common goal is such a rewarding experience for us as the counselors and the teachers.
Tacoma Musical Playhouse is one of the anchor organizations that receives funding from the city of Tacoma every 2 years. That's going away, though, with the recent Tacoma Creates tax that was just approved by Tacoma voters. But Tacoma Creates will now allow organizations like TMP to see some added benefits.
We're very excited about because it will reach out into areas that we haven't been able to reach. Some of the kids that haven't been able to afford to come to camp, there'll be more scholarships. We'll be able to go out into the schools that can't bring the kids here. So it's very exciting.
Summer theater camps are becoming more popular each year, and they've proven to help kids in many ways. Who knows? Because of these activities, there may be a future theatrical star who got their start right here in Tacoma. For Tacoma Report, I'm Lane Fickey.
In addition to the Tacoma Musical Playhouse, there are several other theatrical camps where children can sharpen their acting skills, but space is limited and the camps fill up quickly.
Destruction and Dilemma are the cinematic themes for this year's 2019 Diversity Film Festival, a partnership with Tacoma Community College and the Grand Cinema, focusing on 6 films and documentaries produced by local and international filmmakers. Organizers say the festival is designed for TCC students and the Tacoma community to get together for thought-provoking movie viewing on shaking up the status quo and thinking in different ways.
We have an overall mission, and that's to explore the ways that diversity manifests itself in film and to sort of celebrate diverse voices and perspectives. In the spirit of it being the Diversity Film Festival, I think it's the audience and the participation that really makes it into the Diversity Film Festival, and the more folks we get from our student body, the more folks we get from the Tacoma community to get them together to enjoy film and hopefully have a good conversation, that's what we get excited about.
The Diversity Film Festival Committee organized discussions on the films, including interactions with some of the directors and producers. This is the 9th year of the film series, running April 14th through April 28th exclusively at the Grand Cinema. A special opening night gala launches the festival. For showtimes and details on each film, log on to the Grand Cinema's website.
And finally, thousands of fresh-cut daffodils will soon grace parade floats in 3 big events coming up celebrating the annual Daffodil Festival. The 86th annual event will start at 10:15 a.m. on Saturday, April 6th in Tacoma with the Grand Floral Parade. The parade travels through 4 communities, including Tacoma, Puyallup, Sumner, and Ording. This year's theme is Traditions in Bloom. Then on April 13th, it's the Junior Daffodil Parade, taking place in the Proctor District. This non-motorized event gets bigger and better each year. And once again, TV Tacoma will be televising the Junior Daffodil Parade live beginning at 10 a.m. And don't forget about the beautiful Daffodil Marine Parade on Sunday, April 14th. Some awesome decorated boats make their way along Ruston Way down into Thea Foss Waterway. The Marine Parade gets underway at 11:30 that morning. To find out about all of the daffodil festivities, visit their website. That's all the time we have on this edition of Tacoma Report.
A great way to find out about the services the City of Tacoma has to offer is by going to cityoftacoma.org. Until next time, I'm Laura Proctor.
And I'm Angie Foster. Thanks for watching.